Well, we've had a couple of months of new arrivals, and as you can see, I'm drowning in stuff. Welcome to the basement. So, I've put a hat on because it's pretty cold here in the basement today. We've got a bit of an epic journey. As you can see, there's a whole lot of stuff that we're going to have a look through. Now, if you're interested in one specific thing, I'm going to put the timestamps in the description below, so you can jump straight there and see the particular thing you want to see. Otherwise, grab a cup of tea or something stronger, and we're going to have a look at all the stuff that's found its way here to the basement. Starting with this Commodore here. Now, you might be familiar with the name Commodore, obviously famous for the Commodore 64 and the Amiga products that followed. But this is a slightly different beast, and I haven't seen many of these around, which is why when I saw it come up for sale, I grabbed it, and I thought it'd be a great addition to the basement. It's a little bit weird, a little bit unusual, and should feel right at home here. So let's have a look closer at what this actually is. A clue might be the name of this, and it's called a Commodore PC5. And yes, it's a PC clone. Dates from around 1985, and from what information I can gather, there's not a whole lot out there about these particular machines. It came in PC5, PC10 and PC20, and the only difference was the configuration inside. I believe the 5 has the one floppy disk drive, which this has, 10 had 2, and the 20 had a hard drive installed. Now, it's an XT class machine, so it's pretty limited in what it can do. It's pretty much the bottom of the rung when it comes to PC. But it's in great condition, and I thought it'd be an excellent addition to the basement. And the good thing about this whole setup is it came with this dot matrix printer, so I'm going to be able to word process like it's 1985. But let's fire it up and see if it turns on, and then we'll move on to the next thing. So it's got this big old chunky power switch, and we'll turn the monitor on as well. Great, so something's come up on the screen. Testing the RAM. And date and time. There we go, DOS prompt 3.2. Well, it looks great. It looks like everything's working. So the only thing left for this machine is to work out what are we going to do with it here in the basement. It's quite large, so it takes up a bit of space on the shelf. But if you have any good ideas of what we can do with this particular machine, leave a comment down below. And if you'd like to see further videos on it, also just comment down below, and I'll produce some more videos on this machine. I just can't get over what good cosmetic condition it's in. It's obviously been very well cared for over its life, and it'd be neat to get it up and running, get this printer working, and using it as a word processor, or even finding some games. I believe the graphics capability are very limited in these machines, so we'll be restricted on what kind of games we can put on there. But some ideas that I've got for this machine is some sort of XT to compact flash adapter card, which we can put in to act as like a hard drive, but using a compact flash card, and maybe even like a Gotek type device to emulate a floppy, so we can get data on and off the machine easily. All right, so that's the Commodore PC5. Let's see what's next. Okay, so from one beige box to another, we've got this Amiga 2000. Now, I was really drawn to this machine because it came with so much cool stuff. So we've got all this documentation. We've got the Amiga user guides, using the system software. We've got getting the most out of your Amiga, 1992. What else have we got here? The Amiga DOS manual. Came with a 2-button mouse, and of course the keyboard, and a bunch of discs as well. Now, it's interesting, it also came with this PC MS-DOS 3.2 manual, which coincidentally is the same version of DOS we're running on the Commodore PC5, which we looked at just a second ago. So this manual will come in handy for both machines if I want to run DOS on this machine, and also for the other machine where we are already running DOS 3.2. So that's a great little addition. I don't know a lot about Amigas, but from what I understand, the Amiga 2000 is the fancy version of the 500. So it has the same processor and same board, but it has expansion capability, which is why it's in this desktop form factor in the case, so you can add cards in. And indeed, this has a card added. It's a flicker-free video card, which means we should be able to get VGA signal out of this machine, which is great because it didn't come with a monitor, and I don't have any kind of Amiga monitors that might fit. So hopefully I can put a VGA monitor on this and we can see if it works. However, I'm not going to turn it on this video because I did take it apart initially to have a look, and of course
Data, destroyer of worlds,
has been at work and has been leaking his little green acid all over the board. So I've treated it with vinegar, and hopefully it's going to stop the corrosion until we have a time to get back to this machine and fix it properly. And then once I'm happy that nothing's corroded all the way through and that we've got a working machine, I'll turn it on and we'll see what we've got. So I've got a few plans for this machine. If you've got any ideas of what we can do with it, write down in the description below. Give me some good ideas of what we can use this machine for. But otherwise, yeah, that's the Amiga 2000. So what's next? So let's stick with the theme of old computers, and here we have a Bondwell. So what is that, you might ask? Well, let me show you. And there we have it. So this Bondwell Pro8T is actually a fairly early laptop, although they don't call it a laptop due to the fact that you wouldn't sit this on your lap. They call it a lap size computer because it's about the size of your lap and you'd sit it on a desk. Now there's an issue with this one, is that the screen's gone a bit floppy, which happens as things get older. So I'll just pop something behind it there. So one thing about these Bondwells is that they have apparently a mechanical keyboard, and this certainly feels clicky. So that'll be a nice little feature to have on this machine. Okay, I've found a power supply. The Bondwell takes 17 volts, which is a little strange, but I've found a power supply with 18.5 volts, so hopefully it doesn't blow it up. And we'll plug it in the back, flick it on. Oh, and away she goes. Now the screen's a little dusty. Don't know if you can see that. So it's found one internal drive, a printer port, two RS-232 ports. It's got a hard disk and 640k system RAM, and it's also got expanded memory, so quite a capable little machine. Now this particular unit has an 8088 processor, which is the same processor incidentally as the Commodore PC5 we looked at earlier, which means it's pretty basic. It can't do a whole lot of stuff. It's a very low-end processor for the time. This is from around about 1987, so it's pretty slow, and throughput's pretty slow as well. But in 1987, if you wanted a portable machine, well, a Bondwell was the way to go. The version of the 8088 processor this is using has the turbo feature, so it can either be 4.7 megahertz or 8 megahertz, and running in turbo mode, which we are now. This machine, from what I can understand, it was used to program EEPROMs. There's a bunch of programming tools on there, and a few other tools, and we can have a look through that in a dedicated video later. So one thing I want to do with this machine is to install this, and this is like a Gotek type device, which is a floppy drive emulator. I've played around with this floppy drive and I don't think it works, so that's what prompted me to get this emulator. I haven't used one of these before, but I have flashed this to the upgraded firmware, and well, that could be a future video where we install this and see if we can get it to work, and of course get some games on this thing. I don't know what kind of games we're going to get on the LCD screen, but surely if we can get some games working on the Commodore PC5, we can get them working on this as well. This is interesting too because it has a RGB output, so it must have some sort of CGA card or something in it. I don't have a CGA monitor to test that, but we might have a play around with that as well and see if we can get color out of this machine. That'd be quite neat. So there you have it. That's the Bondwell Pro8T, and yeah, quite a neat little machine. Really happy to have this added to the basement. Right, what's next? So next we've got this stack of laptops, and although most of them came from different places, I thought we'd just look at them all together just to save time. So first of all, we've got this 2009, I think, MacBook. What's quite unique about it is it's got a Japanese keyboard. So something a bit different. And as far as I'm aware, that works okay. Next, we've got this Pismo, which I've been trying to get hold of one of these for the longest time. Unfortunately, this doesn't work. I'm hoping I can maybe get it going, but I think it's a bit far beyond me. It just comes up with a grey screen, and the hard drive has failed. You can just hear it ticking. I do suspect that any fix-it is beyond my capability, but it's in nice cosmetic condition. So maybe down the track I can use it as a donor or for parts, but that's the Pismo we've got. Right, we've got this bunch of iBooks, and these are all either G3 or G4 iBooks. And I believe that all of them have some sort of issue with the hard drive, except this one. But this one is in pretty nasty cosmetic condition. It's got a broken hinge here, and so when you close it, you can see it doesn't quite line up anymore. And the thing is with these iBooks is that the hard drives are so hard to get to that when they fail, people can't be bothered fixing them. And I've been trying for the longest time just to get some nice, good cosmetic condition iBooks to be part of the collection here at the basement. And it's hard to get them in good cosmetic condition. They've all suffered sort of a hard life. And I don't want to pay a fortune for an old iBook. This one here is pretty good condition. This is the big one, an i4, but it does need the hard drive repairing. So at some stage we'll have a look at these and see if we can get a good one out of, how many we've got? 4 of them, if I can count. And last but not least is this Sharp PC6500. I've already had a look at this, and I've written no power and a sporadic power on, no display. So what happens is sometimes when I put the power into it, the lights would come on and I could turn it on, but there was no display. And after a while, I couldn't turn it on, there was just no power. I picked this up for a couple of bucks, and I just thought it was quite a neat old example of an old laptop. And I think it's like a 386 or a 486 or something. Not entirely sure. So I'd like to try and get this going if I can. I don't have a lot of Windows machines in the collection, and I just quite like the design of this. It's that sort of old chunky kind of design, and it predates the touchpad or the trackball. So yeah, quite a neat machine. We'll have a look at that in another episode. So that's all of the laptops, except this one. So this is the first G4 laptop or PowerBook that I've managed to get into the collection. I've kind of been avoiding them because they're not super collectible at the moment, but they will get more so in the future. And because this one came in the box, even though the box is a bit ratty, it came in the box with all kind of the original stuff, which makes it quite exciting to have as part of the collection. So I'll just quickly show you what's in the box and have a look in here. So it comes with sort of the original bits and pieces. Welcome to Panther. Got all the manuals. Getting started. It's got the original discs, which is quite cool. Power supply. It's dirty but original. Modem cable. Yeah. And bits and pieces. And of course underneath here we have the machine itself, nicely wrapped up. And again, this was fairly cheap. The guy did me a good deal and shipped it down to where I live. There's a little bit of a few dents and dings and things, but on the whole, it's in pretty good condition. There it is. From memory, I think I've turned this on and I'm pretty sure it works fine. But don't hold me to that. We'll have a look at this in a dedicated episode where we'll go through and see if it needs any repair or anything like that. So that's the laptops that have made their way into the basement in the last few months, except for one other. So I'll be right back. So, almost forgot, but here is the Tangerine iBook, which has made its way into the basement over the last couple of months. Now, this machine is in beautiful cosmetic condition. I just can't get over how clean it all is, and there's like the plastic, often these clear plastics get all kind of cracked and crazed. It is in amazing condition. Like the MacBook we had a look at earlier, it also has a Japanese keyboard. So this machine's come out from Japan, where it has been incredibly looked after. There's, you know, all around here there's no cracking and everything just looks really pristine. So I am stoked to have got this machine. Now I know that it works. I've turned it on and it's got a Japanese language version of OS 9, and everything seems to be working. But what's even more exciting than a pristine condition Tangerine iBook is a matching keyboard. So this came with it as well, again in perfect cosmetic condition, just really clean, really nice. But strangely it's a Spanish keyboard, so we've got a Japanese machine here, Spanish keyboard here, and one other thing came with it, and that is this iBook power adapter. Now you know you've reached peak nerd when you start to get more excited about the peripherals that come with your machine than the machine itself. And here we have a new old stock power supply. Just look at that, it's just unmarked, pristine condition. Oh, I'm so excited. Works great, and it's handy too, because you might have seen a few episodes ago I managed to blow up one of my power supplies. Smoke started coming out of it, and this will do the job nicely. So great little haul there. Thanks to Matt if you're watching. Props to you for giving me a great deal on this, and it's going to find a very good home here in the basement. Now there's one other thing I got from this gentleman as well, and I'll grab that in a second. And here it is. In this beautiful dust jacket we've got a cinema display, and again it's in excellent condition. It's the big one, and it's going to be a great addition to the Power Macs down here I've got, so it'll match up with them nicely. And of course it came with a DVI to ADC adapter as well, still with the original plastic wrapping on. I might peel that off later. Well, and so that means I can hook it up to something with a display port or a DVI port and use it that way. But I do like the Apple Display connector, because then you can use the power button on the device itself to turn the computer on and off. So yeah, happy with that. It's again great condition, and it's a nice great big monitor. I'm looking forward to using that. And how cool is this dust jacket that came with it? So that'll keep the dust off and keep everything nice and clean. Great. So what's next? So we've also had a couple of iMacs make their way into the basement. We've got this iMac G3, which is the snow version. These are renowned for being the colourful iMac, you know, the jelly bean iMac, and they made a big splash when they were released. But this is the white one, and so it actually looks quite similar to the eMac, which featured on my channel some months ago. And for that reason I was quite keen to grab it, because you don't often see the white ones. They are slightly more rare than the colourful ones, and it's a late model example, so it's one of the last ones produced before they moved to this design. And so for that reason I'm quite happy to add it to the collection here in the basement. Fully working, and it's a great unit and a great addition. Now this on the other hand is not working at all. When I plug power into it, it just makes a funny noise and nothing happens, but it is in great cosmetic condition. And you may have seen behind me in some previous videos, I do have another one of these. In fact, I've got two. I've got a larger one and I've got one this size, but they were stored outside for a number of years, and the arm's gone all rusty and they're not very nice cosmetically, whereas this is. So at the end of the day, I might be able to swap the guts over from one to the other and have a fully working, nice condition iMac G4. So that's the plan for this one. Or maybe it's an easy fix and I can just fix it without swapping anything over at all. Okay, what's next? So you're probably familiar with that saying, when it rains it pours, and I've been looking for some ghetto blasters to add to my collection for a while. and for some reason in the last few months I got all of the Ghetto Blasters. So we've got this one here, which is a Hanimex with TV. So that's the third one I've got with the TV. I've got two over here, so I might do a series of videos looking at them and making sure the TVs work and seeing if we can do something interesting with them. What else have we got here? A Sanyo, a Sharp. What's this one? Oh, another Sharp. Oh, now we're getting interesting. A Sharp GF5454. Last but not least, this beast, a Sharp GF9494. So as you can see, we've got enough Ghetto Blasters to keep us busy for a while. I'm planning to do a video on each one, and I'll look at the features and test if they're working. I dare say that a lot of the tape mechanisms will need fixing or new belts to get working, but I'm certainly looking forward to doing some videos on these machines. So there you go. All of a sudden we have more boomboxes than we know what to do with. We did it, we made it. We got to the end of the video looking at all the stuff that's made its way into the basement over these last couple of months. Now you can see there's quite a bit of stuff to go through, and if there's anything in that list that we've gone through today that you want to see more of, let me know in the comment section below. So I'm happy to do a video on any of those things, a more in-depth video and more of a showcase, maybe pull it apart, and some of that stuff needs fixing as well. So let me know. If you have any other ideas of what we could do, like project ideas with any of the stuff that you've seen today, also let me know in the comment section below, and I'm happy to explore that. But for now, I want to thank you for joining me. You've been in the basement. Have a great day.